The number? Correct. You not by your email? Oh, okay. Let me let me go back. I was just checking it out. Send it to you and Stephen. Hopefully I put you on it too. But if not, I'll shoot you one right quick. Stephen and Rodney. No, no, Kim got one too. Okay. That's how we send it. So you didn't get anything from me today, right?
Okay. We're good to go. We're live on Facebook.
Rodney, you didn't get in? Okay. I will forward it to you, right? And you'll have time because we got a couple things before you are on stage, if you will. Okay, right now, just send it to you. You can either call me back on this number or shoot me an email if something else doesn't ain't right. Okay. 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 All right. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Bye. Hey, Denise.
Yeah.
So Rodney, he didn't see the email, so I just sent it to him again. So he will be on here in just a momento.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it gives us time to let people start flowing in. We have people on here and on Facebook Live.
Oh, no problem. I need to grab us as well.
Saying hello to Takey Jacobs. She's on our live. She says hello. Hello.
Hello.
We got Tamara Starks on as well. Hey, Tamara, what's up?
All right, we're gonna get started shortly. Waiting 5 minutes, so at 3:05 we'll get started.
So Denise,
Yeah.
you know, of course we're going to do and you as well, Stephen. We're going to do our normal update, and then I'm going to let Rodney go first if he's on. If not, then we'll let Stephen go. Then Rodney, and then we'll do our QA just like we did in the past. People making their
Sounds
connection.
good.
Sounds like a plan.
Should have background music on.
Want some?
Like waiting time.
Stand by background music.
Unless one of y'all want to start singing. I'm just kidding. Y'all don't want to hear me sing. Mm-mm. Yes, Glenda, do you have a question? Your hand's up. Glenda Johnson? We have a chat, so if you want, you can. Oh, what? I don't know what I just did. My bad.
She's up.
Glenda, you have a question?
Hi, guys. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. I have a quick question. The Facebook ad says it's also happening in Facebook Live, is it?
Yes, it is. It's on Facebook Live on our page.
Okay, I was trying to do that because I'm multitasking, so I won't just be sitting here at the Zoom. So I'm gonna see if it's on that as well.
Yeah.
I just left the Facebook page.
Refresh your page. It's
Okay.
on there, it's on there now. So you're good to go.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining.
Mhm.
It's not too, the music's not too loud, is it?
No, you're good. Okay, Rodney's here. I'm adding Rodney now.
Hello,
Hey, Rodney.
Hello.
how's everyone?
Good.
Great,
How
how
are
you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Rodney, have you met Stephen?
I don't believe I have it. It's a pleasure to virtually meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
All right, so it's 3:05. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today at our the State of Your Business webinars. My name is Denise. I am the Membership Service Director for the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce. And I have my coworker here, Daryl Brewer. Say hello, Daryl. He's our
Hello, everyone.
Economic Development Manager. And we just want to thank everybody for being here on our second chamber webinar. Today we're having Mr. Rodney Johnson from the SBDC. He was with us last week, but like we all know, things can change from one day to another. So he's going to be giving us the latest updates on what's happening with the business resources from the state and federal and all that. So he's going to be going into that. And then we have Mr. Steven Gonzalez from Workforce Solutions. Thank you so much for joining us today. The way that our webinar is going to go, it's going to go into 3 parts. First part is just going to be chamber updates. The next is the business resources with our guest speakers, and then we'll be closing with a Q&A. If you have any questions, please write them down in the chat. We are on Zoom and on Facebook Live. Our Facebook is FW Black Chamber. So if you're trying to get off of Zoom and it's easier for you to get on the Facebook Live, you can go ahead and do that. We're on both. So make sure to put your questions in the chat or on the Facebook Live. We'll be answering all the questions at the end of each person's portion. So yeah, so we'll just get started. From last week to this week, we don't have many updates from the chamber, only that we are working remotely, and we're all working very hard to be able to give back to our members and make sure that they've been updated with all of the latest information of and anything that would be affecting your business with COVID-19. So we're trying to be here for all you and for the community and make sure that all the information that we have, you have as well, to be able to better run your businesses, however it is that you're doing it, either essential or non-essential, from home or from your actual place of work. So if you ever have any questions, you can give me send me an email. I'll be writing my email in the chat so that you all have that. As well, you can also look onto our website. We have a COVID-19 page on our website. It has all of the information that, for the most part, we're going to be going over now, but also if you need it later time, you need certain links or whatever, go to our website. It's on there, as well as a blog to kind of stay with the up-to-date, everyday, daily updates on what's happening. So all of those are good resources for you, as well as if you're not following us already on our social medias, all of our social media handles are FW Black Chamber. So make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. so that you're stay with the most updated. And of course, make sure to join our mailing list on our website. As soon as you go to the website, there's a pop-up that comes up. Put it in your email, and you'll be able to receive not only our normal monthly newsletter, but we also have weekly newsletters that go out with these kinds of information, especially pertaining things with COVID-19 and things like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to my coworker, Daryl Brewer, for the following. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Daryl Brewer, the Economic Development Manager for the 4th Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. We hope to provide you with excellent information that you can use to make things better during this COVID-19 time. I just want to run through just a few things before we get to our guest speakers. And the first thing I want to let you know is that there are grants out besides SBA. And so one of those grants and really the ones I have are for women. And one is the Red Backpack Fund. And those are $5,000 grants for women-owned businesses. And then there's the HER grant, H-E-R grant. That's through Texas Women's University in Denton. There are also grants for artists. So if you make a living by singing or painting or some such like that, some form of art, then there are some grants out there for you as well. So feel free to email me at dbrewer@fwmbcc.org. That's dbrewer@fwmbcc.org. I'm hoping Denise is going to type that in so everybody will see that. And then my phone number there is 817-871-6558. So if you email me, then I can forward this information to you. So I think that's about all of the updates I'm going to have for you today, other than because other things that I have is something we will talk about today. So I want to get to Rodney first, if he's ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, so I'm going to first introduce Rodney Johnson. He's the director of the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center here in Fort Worth. And he is the director. He gave us an excellent presentation last week on the things that the SBA is doing. And I just want him to update us and give us any changes that he knows of, because these things seem to change almost every day. So we'll let Rodney update us now. And then after that, again, if you have any questions, go ahead and type those in and we'll be able to ask them for you. Rodney?
Well, first of all, good afternoon to one and all. I won't take very long. I know there's a lot of information flowing out there, and I think that's probably the best place to start, is that there's a lot of information out there. And this thing from the beginning has been very, very dynamic. It's been very fluid. So you almost have to keep up with it on a daily basis. My team and I are keeping up with this on an hourly basis, and sometimes even more frequent than that. Since our last discussion last week, the main things that have kind of taken place is that the initiation of the Paycheck Protection Program did not start very smoothly. Some of the processes weren't firmly in place. There wasn't enough resources, being banks that was in place ready to start processing loans. Then you had the challenge that came up when Wells Fargo actually ended up having to tap out. That sent a tsunami, if you will, of challenges throughout this whole process. And what ended up happening, that there was a scramble to try to find who was available and actually processing loans for the Paycheck Protection Program. Since then, several things have happened by the SBA. One of them is that they have expedited the processes for getting banks and lenders approved to be able to process these loans. Number two, they've relaxed more of the standards that the banks were using whenever they would process the loans. So before, where you had to have a banking relationship with the bank, they've since relaxed that policy so that most banks can take on new applicants during the process. The next major thing I think that has happened significantly since then is that approximately on the Thursday, Friday timeframe, I think it was Friday, somewhere along the line, we got the word that Wells Fargo had been turned back on. And so with Wells Fargo having been turned back on, that gave a lot of people initial option, what their initial option was in terms of going out and getting a paycheck protection program loan. Since then, so if you did not get contacted by Wells Fargo, I would encourage you to continue to go out and to seek them out, because they obviously are a large enough institution. They have processes much like what Bank of America would have and other large institutions that they can more quickly and more efficiently process your applications. There are a number of small lenders who have stepped up to try and accept your applications. And so there is a lot of application processing going on. There was a rumor, and I'm not one for dealing in the rumor mills, but I'm going to give you the facts as I understand them this morning. There was a rumor that because of the number of applicants that have been received, that all of the funds were gone. That is not true. That was $347 billion set aside. And to this date, after a week and a couple of days of actually processing this, the amount of funds left, put it like this, they've only processed about 250 billion. So there is still lots of money available. And I think that at least at some point in time, there was discussions going through the House as well as through the Senate about continuing to add funds to those already existing funds. So again, the commitment comes back that the government is standing behind being able to make this available to small businesses. One of the last things that I have is that the state of Texas came out with an initiative that spoke to Lift Fund from Texas. It's a $50 million initiative that was put forth by Governor Abbott. And so those funds are available. You can go to the state of Texas website, or you can go to Lift Fund website. Lift Fund is actually an organization that's spread across, I think it's 11 states across the South. But in order to expeditiously get there, go to the state of Texas, and then in that search bar, type in Lift Fund, and you'll be able to get some specific information about that. I believe those are the major points that I want to make, with one additional exception, and that is that for those of you who are looking for a bridge loan, Paycheck is a lending source that is also located in the same facility where the Fort Worth Black Chamber as well as SBDC is located. But People Fund is also making loans available to small businesses who might otherwise be challenged to find the bridging funds elsewhere. So by all means, there are sources out there. And if you're still looking for someone to help you with your paycheck protection program, finding a lender with that, then if you would call our office, we have a list of lenders who are continuing to work with the small business community to give them that information. So to help them process their loans or to answer any questions. And I think that is the majority of what I have this afternoon. Daryl, if you have any questions, I will be on standby.
So one of the things I have a question about, and this came up even in another Zoom meeting earlier today, I saw that with Governor Greg Abbott. So is that different money? Is that 50 million different from PPP, or is Lift Fund just being another administrator?
No, it's different. It's a different bucket of money.
Oh, okay.
It's an additional bucket of money.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Very good to hear.
I have a question. This was brought up in one of the forums I'm in that the EIDL, that they're actually only doing $1,000 per employee that you have now instead of the $10,000. Is that correct, or is it something that they just changed? I think within the last couple of days.
That is 100% correct. That change, if I'm not mistaken, may have come out either late Friday night or sometime over the weekend. My team and I, and my team being the SBDC centers around North Texas, was hovering around that issue this morning at 7 o'clock, and it did state that that it was $1,000 per employee. I think not to exceed $10,000, and it is still in the form of a grant. So that is not a something that has to be paid back. I'm looking for my note on my cheat sheets, but that is correct. That's something that is very, very recently changed, and I think it was either effective Friday or effective over the weekend. But that is new insight that just came out.
So that's a major difference.
That's a huge difference. That's a huge difference. That's a huge difference. I agree.
Because I mean, we're talking about before 75, up to $10,000, 75% of that could be payroll, and 25.
No, not quite on that one. Not quite on that one. What this one was, this was through the economic injury disaster loan. They were, if you go in and you process for, you make application for that loan, then on the back end of that was a option that if you wanted the grant to kind of serve as a bridge or a tie between, since it takes the loan about 3 to 4 weeks to get processed, they were offering these quote unquote $10,000 grants, to help businesses survive or just get by in the meantime while they process the big application, the EIDL, the one that could go up to $2 million.
Right.
Well, what changed is that they came back and said, it's still a grant. However, instead of it being $10,000, the first change was it was $10,000. The second change is it was up to $10,000. And the third change and the last change is that it's $1,000 per employee. So again, this thing is very fluid, and all we can do is just try and keep pace with what else is changing. There'll be, my forecast is that something else major will happen within the next day or so, but that's what that was. So this was the $10,000 that did not require being repaid, but now it's still not having to be repaid, but they've changed the criteria to $1,000 per person.
And
up
so
to $10,000.
And someone from Wallace said that whatever you get per employee, say if you got $3,000 for 3 employees for that grant, he was saying that would be subtracted from your EILD loan.
That is correct. That is correct. And
So
there is one other key point there. There's one other point that I want to make. It should be obvious, but it may not be obvious. So let me just make sure I'm gonna throw this in here. And there's another piece of information that my team and I are going to be trying to establish here. But I want to suggest that in all the funds you get, if you're one of the ones who get funds, that I would be very strategic as to what you do with those funds, almost to the point of making sure that you establish a separate tracking system, maybe even a separate bank account, so that when the question comes, and there may be a day when the question comes, you have separate records showing how those funds were expended. Then you won't have to be hunting, trying to figure out what did you do with that $10,000 or that $2,000 or whatever it is, because the purpose of the money is to bridge your company, not to enhance your personal assets. So somebody one day may want to know, how did you spend that money? and do yourself a favor and have a bookkeeping system or an accounting system that allows you to more easily track that information.
I think that's some good information. Denise, do we have any other questions for Rodney right now?
Yes, there's one from Darlene Flocker. What is the timeline of the EIDL grants? I received an email that only addresses the application was received.
Repeat the last part of that.
That they only received an email that their application was received. They want to know what is the timeline of the EIDL grants, I guess, approval rate.
Okay, so the first thing is that she received an email, and if she received an email, then she also received a 10-digit number. That 10-digit number is kind of like her receipt that she did, in fact, that her application was in fact accepted into the system. That is great news. Now, to answer the question, what we're being told is that that process initially was intended to take about 3 days. What we do know is that it's taking at least a week and a half or so or longer, in order for it to get processed. So everything has slidden. Initially, it was supposed to take 3 days to get your $10,000. It was supposed to take 2 to 3 weeks to get the EIDL, and the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Plan, was probably going to take 5 to 6 to 7 days, working days, in order to process. Well, the EIDL grants, they're up to $10,000. It started off strong, but soon it didn't take long before the system became overwhelmed. And now we're seeing money starting to flow for these loans. Money is starting to come out, but it's again a week and a half to 2 weeks, longer than what initially had been projected. And I think that's true for all three of these particular packages, for the grant, for the PPP, as well as for the EIDL loan itself. So everything is taken, at least a couple of weeks, if not, 2 weeks longer than what the original projection was.
All right. Other questions?
Not that I can see.
Okay, awesome. Rodney, we appreciate that. Can you hang on with us?
I'm good.
Okay, awesome. So next we'll come to Stephen Gonzalez. He's the Business Services Director with the Tarrant County Workforce Solutions, not to be confused with Workforce Connection. So he is here and he's going to talk to us about employment. He's going to employment opportunities, as well as he's going to talk to us about those employment checks that you're looking for. So Stephen, talk to us.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having us, Daryl and Denise. Look forward to answering some questions and helping some people out. So a little bit about who we are. We're Workforce Solutions for Tarrant County. We work under the direction of TWC, the Texas Workforce Commission. Now, a quick clarification: we are not the Texas Workforce Commission. We are on the workforce development side. So we were focused on initiatives to help job seekers and training and everything that goes into that to get them ready for a career, and then also helping the employers and companies in Tarrant County to help them and connect them find that talent and the skills that they need within the people in our community. So just want to throw that out there. A lot of people might be confused on whether we can help with unemployment, stuff like that. What we are doing is we are staying in tune with all of the information that is coming out, because we want to help and provide some relief to the people who are trying to get through on the phone lines. Things are getting a lot better day by day, but we still want to provide relief for people and answer questions as the best that we can to help them throughout this difficult process. So I want to throw that out there. Our services are free, and they're free and available to any job seeker within Tarrant County, as well as all of the companies or employers, small businesses, et cetera. One thing I want to touch on is a big initiative since this all has kicked off is we've created a page on our website to help promote all of the available jobs that are out there right now. And if you go to our website, you can go to workforcesolutions.net, and you can put jobs now, and it will take you right to the page where you can look at all of the jobs that we have posted, and we're working on this daily. Any employer or business that is looking to hire folks, we highly encourage you to get in touch with us, and we can help promote the positions that you're looking for through our social media channels, through all of the partnerships that we are working with, and we've also even created a task force with all of the community partners within Tarrant County to help promote it as well. I know it's on the Black Chamber of Commerce's page, so we thank you for helping and reaching out to the community in that regard. But we've upgraded our website, and we've also upgraded this page since we've initially kicked it off. We've broken it down by industries, so it's a lot easier to maneuver. And right now we have roughly around 8-9 different industries, several jobs, several companies. So we encourage anyone who is looking for a job or going through a difficult process right now and trying to find a job, we encourage you to go to our website, look at everything that is live. These are all jobs that have kicked off since this pandemic has risen. So if you have any questions, as a business, any business that is looking to get onto the website or that needs our help, you can email us at business.services@workforcesolutions.net. And if anyone has a general question, they can email us at info@workforcesolutions.net. So the next thing I want to cover is on the employer side, is our rapid response services. If you're a small business or a company that is looking to, you're debating or looking to lay off some folks, we can provide some services to help you out during this difficult process. We can help you out with kind of navigating through the unemployment insurance. We can help your employees with job search assistance. We can provide you guys labor market information to kind of see what's going on within your industry. We can provide seminars. We can provide, there's just many options that our rapid response team can assist you with. So we encourage you to reach out to us if you're in need of any help in that regard. One announcement I do want to make is as of yesterday, we set up a town hall meeting with on next Thursday, the 23rd at 11 a.m. And all this information I'll share with Daryl to make sure that anyone who is missing it, you have access to. But the town hall meeting will be next Thursday, the 23rd at 11 a.m. And it will be with Commissioner Dimerson he's the commissioner over employers with the Texas Workforce Commission. And he will also have the Texas Workforce Commission legal team. So for any business, any small employer, any company, big company, it doesn't matter. Any questions that you have directed towards the Texas Workforce Commission, they can answer them there live. We encourage you to reach out to us for any questions initially. You can send them to Daryl. He can email them to me. Any way we can get the questions to have them in front in front of the team as well as the commissioner would be great. And the idea is to answer tough questions during this tough time. So I will provide some advertising material to you, Daryl, when we get that going. We just set it up yesterday, so as soon as we get it. And I want to announce that, you know, our centers are closed right now, but we are still working. We're working vigorously, but we're doing it remotely. So if you're a job seeker, you can visit our website and we can still provide services, although they will be remotely. If you are a business, I encourage you to reach out to our department, and we will help however we can. And that's, at this point, all I have to pass along at this point. I'm ready to answer any questions that are out there.
All right, we have a few questions.
Okay.
We have one from Paula Dixon. She asked, I applied for unemployment in the beginning and got denied. Do I need to reapply since I am a small business? If so, how?
So you don't need to reapply. What they will reach out to you. Let me see here. Do I have access to see the question, Denise?
Yes, it's in the chat. So on your screen
Okay.
at the bottom, it'll say chat.
So Stephen, what I think what she's looking for are things that we talked about, like, hey, I want to go online. How do I apply? Do I do it by phone? Do I do it online? What's the process? I've already applied. And I will tell you what I've heard before. If you were denied previously, they said go ahead and apply again, especially if you're an independent contractor. So
if you are an independent contractor, yes, reapply. If you are someone who has, if you're a job seeker that is looking to receive benefits, the TWC is going back all the way to July of 2019. So you don't have to reapply because they're automatically doing that. So if you are eligible, there's a nice chart that they have on their website. It's a flow chart that kind of explains, all right, if you have applied, you know, this happens, and it gives you 2 bullets. It's a classification tree, if you will, and great information. But no, they are going back. If you qualify, they will provide you with an addition, and you've exhausted your unemployment benefits, then they can, under this act, they can provide another 13 weeks of benefits. But on the employer side, yes, I would encourage you to reapply, especially since the CARE Act just kind of went into, you know, all the details were hashed out as of April 12th.
Okay, let's not get this confused. But our focus primarily here is on I'm gonna say the consumer, the employee. So I'm an employee,
Okay.
And so that's why I say independent contractor. You know,
Okay.
contractor, employee. Hey, I've applied, whether I'm an employee or whether I'm an independent contractor. I haven't heard anything, or I applied and I got denied. What's the answer to that?
So they can file online, and the best place to go is, if you're going to file online, is ui.texasworkforce.org.
Say that again.
ui.texasworkforce.org.
Do you spell out Texas?
Yeah, you spell it out. And if you want to file via telephone, I have the main number, and I have 3 local numbers, although one in Spanish that could be useful. I also have an automated teleserve number. So the main number is 1-800-939-6631. The two local numbers are 817-420-1600. The other one is 817-420-1650.
And don't we have specific days they want us to call?
Yes, so the best times to call for an area code that begins with an 8, here in this area, are Tuesdays, Thursdays, through Saturdays at 8 a.m. To noon. And with area codes beginning with a 6, the best time to get through is Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay, didn't I also hear on a call that there's been an increase in the number of call center employees and the time is stretched out as well?
Yes, so I'll just give you guys some data straight from TWC off of a call that we were on with them. So from March 14th, TWC has been able to assist 1.1 million people with over $408 million in payments in claims. To put that into perspective, that is a year and a half worth of claims in roughly a month period. Last week, TWC received over 14 million calls. It was 15 million calls the week prior to that. April 7th was the largest amount of calls with 3.4 million in one day. On that day, 2,700 callers were able to file their claims via the phone. Online that day, 43,000 people filed their claims, that same day online. Roughly right now, 90% of the claims are filed online. But again, to put that into perspective, before the average, before this pandemic kicked off, there was an average of 13,000 calls a day. And the previous record was 60,000 in one day. So to jump to 3.4 million, I mean, that's a lot. But to answer your question, there have been 450 staff that has been brought on, hired to the call centers. There's been another 100 emergency personnel that have been brought on. They've extended the hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And now TWC is open 7 days a week. And they've also expanded their server, the strength of their servers. They went from 10 servers here within the last week to now currently having 20 servers online. So they are doing everything they can. They've also there's now 7 call centers online, and I think that last one is still in training, but I think by the end of this week, from what I understand, it will be opened. But they're doing everything that they can to make sure that we slow this down. But it's not only Texas. I mean, this is happening with every workforce commission across the United States. So I feel like Texas is doing a great job and trying to get this handled with the amount of volume that we have. Does that answer your question, Daryl?
Yes. So what about, I lost you. What about the $600 coming from the federal government? Can you talk about that?
Yes. So I'll touch on kind of the amount of money that you will receive in unemployment here in Texas. So the minimum weekly unemployment benefit in Texas is $69 and the maximum is $521.
Okay.
I know initially you had asked about how does the state come up with that number? Well, it's calculating by dividing the quarter of the highest earnings by 25 and then rounding to the nearest dollar. So I have an example. Say you earned $9,300 during your highest quarter. You divide that by 25 and you round to the nearest dollar. So that would be 9,300 divided by 25. That's $372 that you would receive for unemployment. But under the federal pandemic unemployment compensation program under the CARES Act, you will now receive the additional $600 per week. Now, if you're receiving unemployment, that it will automatically come. Payments have already started been paying out as of April 12th. So I know there's a lot of people in the state that are already receiving that benefit. It will come automatically. There's nothing that you have to do as anyone who is on or has an unemployment claim. There's nothing you need to do in addition. It will come automatically. They are working on that to get the payment out.
Okay, and is that per week or every 2 weeks?
It's a week. So in the example that I gave, you would be receiving $372 a week, plus the additional $600 per week. So that'd be, $972 gross, and that is with no taxes withheld. You still pay taxes on your unemployment benefits.
Okay.
Okay, we still have a few questions on our live from
Okay.
the same person. These are from Kevin Haywood. And Kevin says, so it's 3 different questions. Did you want me to do all of them all at once, or do you want to do one question at a time?
One at a time.
Okay. So the first one is, Mr. Steven Gonzalez, what is the status of utilizing the WIOA program? When will applications be able to go in for orientation?
That is a good question. If they would email me that, I don't know the question to that right now online. I know we are still working with all of the required job seekers that under the program. I will say that right now, if you would give me the information for an email, maybe I can have a response for him by the end of the day.
Okay,
So
we'll post the email for Kevin, not for Kevin, for Mr. Gonzalez in the comments after this live. We'll put his information in there so they can, anybody that wants to email you, it'll be on in the comment section.
Sure.
And if for some reason you don't get that, you can always email me with the question, and it's in the comment section, dbrewer@FWMBCC, and I can forward that on to whether it's Stephen or whether it's Rodney.
Sounds good.
Go ahead with the next question.
Okay, so the next one is, will the new people who are receiving unemployment benefits, will they be eligible for the WIOA program also?
I don't think that affects it.
Yeah, I don't think that affects it either.
Okay. Next question is also for Mr. Johnson. My employees are 1099. I applied for PPP. My bank emailed me back about asking for supporting documents. Should I just send them my 1099 tax forms for each contracted employee?
Here's what we are starting to understand, and that is that some banks are being allowed to ask for additional information than what the initial PPP application is asking for. And so if that's what they're asking for to meet their requirements, then the answer to that is I would give it to them. But there was one other point that regarding that I wanted to look up real quick while we're here, and that is that 1099 employees can file for themselves. So if they truly are an independent contractor, they can apply for themselves. the way the PPP is written right now for eligibility, self-employed individuals, which will be an independent contractors, sole proprietors and businesses, tribal business concerns, and private 501c3s, nonprofits with 500 or fewer employees. That's the eligibility. Businesses in certain industries can have more than 500 employees if they meet applicable SBA employee-based size standards for those industries, according to the NAICS code. So the answer to that is if so independent contractors can apply separately from an employee, even though they may have worked for an employer for a while. So, but in order to complete the application, if that's what the bank is asking you for, in order to complete the application, you're going to want to provide them that information because that'll hold up the application. But worst case, independent contractors can apply for themselves.
Great, thank you. That's all the questions I have from the Facebook Live and from the chat. Mr. Gonzalez, I sent you Kevin Haywood's email. He put it in the live so that you can send him that information.
Got it.
Any other questions? Oh, Kevin just asked for Mr. Johnson. He said, so do I only send 1099 for myself as the owner?
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. All right, I think that's all the questions we have in the Zoom and on the Facebook Live. So I just want to thank y'all so much for joining us today, everybody that joined in, our special guest, Mr. Ronnie Johnson from the SBDC, and then Mr. Stephen Gonzalez from Workforce Solutions. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. And as upcoming things, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to throw in there, if there's anyone out here who is looking for additional information and they want to speak to an advisor, I'd love if you don't mind, Denise, just share what our contact information is. And I'd be happy to connect them up with one of my advisors who can help walk them through the process for getting any of these loans, or if they have general how to grow my business, how to sustain my business, what are some tips of the day for the business and survival, we'd be more than happy to share that with them. But if you go to TarrantSBDC.org, that's Tarrant, like in Tarrant County, TarrantSBDC, one word, .org, you'll be able to go to our website. If you want to call us, we have a call center in place with the FAQs, able to answer the majority of your questions, and as well as put you in contact with an advisor. And that phone number is 817-515-2603. 817-515-2603. And then finally, if you have a question that you want to email, please just send it to admin@TarrantSBDC.org.
Thank you. And I'll go ahead and be putting your information and Mr. Gonzalez's information in the comment section, because once you go live, the video stays on our page. So if anybody wants to rewatch this, it'll be on there, and y'all's information will be on there to directly contact you. I'll get with Daryl to get any more information.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to thank, we appreciate all of what the employers are doing right now during this unprecedented time. And I want them to know that we are here to try to assist with any effort that we can through the services that we provide. So if there's anything that we can do, please feel free to reach out to us, visit our website, and we will help that to the best of our ability. Thanks to Daryl and Denise and the Black Chamber for having us. We appreciate the partnership very much.
Thank you. Anything, Daryl?
I just want to again thank our guests for showing up. Thank everyone who tuned in, and we will be here next week at same time, same bat channel, which is Tuesday at 3 o'clock. And we will get the information out to you, be looking for flyers, et cetera, so that you can tune in and know what our program will be.
Very good.
All right. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.